Hello, and you're very welcome to Thursday's edition of International Day of People with Disabilities celebration. And today we're celebrating Ruth Codd, actress extraordinaire, native of Wexford, formerly on social media TikTok. And we'll discuss all of that. But general all-round personality, you might know Ruth from her appearance on the Netflix series The Midnight Club, or you might just know Ruth from being just a popular personality around town. Ruth, you're very welcome. How are you? I don't know if that's really a fit way to describe you, but there, take it, take it.
I wouldn't say a popular personality around town, but
I know that could be misleading, but hey, you're popular. Let's put it that way. Let's
I
put
don't
it that way.
know. I don't know.
And I just going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we go forward to say, just to remind everybody that this is a live discussion, so that it is being recorded, and that any comments that you may make and that are posted on this video, they may be displayed and they cannot be deleted. So please bear that in mind before anybody makes any comment. So Ruth, I'm delighted to have you talk to us today, and thank you so much for being part of our week of celebrating people, and that's what it's all about, celebrating people. um and from look, I'm going to go straight into it, and ask you, no, I didn't realize not only are you an actress, but you've also been involved in from your previous world and skills in post production, so the behind the scenes as well as the in front of the camera. So how did you get involved in all of this, really?
Well, I used to be a hair and a makeup artist, and I did a bit of barbering. And I used to work backstage at like musical theatre and operas and stuff.
Yeah,
Pandemic hit, all that stopped,
vanished.
obviously.
Mm.
So I moved home, started making TikToks in my bedroom. They all kind of blew up, and then I got offered a role in the Midnight Club with no acting experience at all.
Fabulous. And how did you manage that? Did you have to go for interviews or auditions? Sorry, auditions. I'm showing my lack of experience.
They just send you the script and they're like, put that
Hmm.
on a tape, and I did. So I did that twice, and then they
Okay.
flew me over um to
Fabulous.
Vancouver, and I started filming.
So, and look, amazing. How did you find the going into such an environment after not having been in there before? What was that like? Was it surreal?
Um, yeah, it was weird being the other side of it.
Yeah.
And everyone was so nice because it was a huge film set. So
Mm.
like everyone did everything for you. Like there was a guy that went and got me my lunch. I was like, he had to got me my lunch every day. I was like, I can walk to the truck. Like let me walk to the truck. So it was weird. It took me a while to get used to it, but I think being the other side of it, I really appreciated like everything that everyone was doing because I know how
Yeah.
busy they.
Yeah, and it's hard work. Like every the preconception of all of this is that it's glamorous and that it's glitzy. But I'd say there's so much hard graft and just at,
Um,
at times difficult like it's a process as well. You know
yeah, I mean, the hardest part I find is the prep, like the learning your
mm,
lines and stuff. That's the stuff that kind of takes me the longest anyway, is like the prep beforehand. And sometimes after you come home after being on set for like 13, 14 hours, you're
yeah.
like, oh God, I've like 3 pages of dialogue to learn now. But
And oh God, love you. How do you do that? That must be really hard.
I did find it hard at the beginning. You just get
Yeah.
used to it. You just get used to it. Your brain just after a while gets, I'm used to, I'm grand with it now, but at the beginning it
Mm,
used to take me like, I wouldn't be able to learn my lines like the night before or anything. Like I'd have to spend a couple of days on them to like
yeah.
imprint them in my brain. But it's grand now. I'll learn my lines like on my way to set.
That's a real skill. And this may sound like a naive question, but is there any flexibility on the dialogue? Do you have to learn it verbatim, or is it like, will the script writers be very offended if you put an extra word here there?
I don't know if it was any different with Mike now because he wrote it, but
Mm,
he doesn't really like a lot of the times. he doesn't want you like word for word
Yeah.
or anything. It's grand if you like change a few words around or if you say something a little differently, as long as
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I think as long as the like what the scene is about is still like coming through, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then you mentioned there like 14 hours on set. That's I did a 14-hour day yesterday, and I'm wrecked today. So, how do you wind down? How do you decompress after that? Or do you just go into the room and fall into your bed and snooze?
No, I find that I'm kind of like, because I love being on set, so
Okay.
I'm really wound up when I come home after work. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, I just don't like if I'm filming a couple of days in a row, I'm just a shell of a human being by the end of it because I just don't sleep. I just can't sleep.
All right. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I
that you.
suppose like I was
So
in most days. So like by the end of the 8 months, I was like a shell of the
I
human
was about
being
to
I once
say,
was.
do you just keep going, and then just all of a sudden at the end of it, just go, boom, I know I need a break.
Yeah, well, you see, it's worse for crew because they have longer hours, even longer hours
Okay.
than us.
Okay.
So it's way worse for them. At least like I get my weekends off, so like they probably I know myself at weekends you have weekends off, but you don't really because you're like prepping stuff for the next week,
Yeah.
so you're not behind, and especially when you work in wigs and stuff. So yeah, at least I have like I've 2 days a week and I do nothing for those 2 days. Do not contact me. I'm not going to answer my
Okay.
phone. I'm asleep.
I love it. I like that style. I could do that. I could
I
like
just,
until my 6-year-old is a bit older. I don't think I'll ever get to that.
no, no.
I don't think I'll actually ever get to that again. And I love my bed. I love my
I
bed.
love I love to sleep.
Yeah. So tell me, having been in the industry, I'm going to ask you a question that I'm often asked. Is does a person with a disability have to play the part of a person with a disability?
I think so. Yes. Um.
Okay. Tell
I
me,
I,
tell me more.
I think in order to produce meaningful work, you need, and if you're going to write a disabled character,
Mm,
for this, then you need to cast a disabled actor because otherwise it's meaningless. It's just a token. It's and it means nothing. It's not representation. It's
okay.
I think it's just a token. Um, like if you're going to take the time to write a disabled character, take the time to cast a disabled actor because
Okay.
we understand from a deeper point of view the dialogue, the meaning behind it, the experiences. If you don't have a
Mm,
disability, no matter how good of an actor you are, you're never really going to be able to understand. So I think if you want to produce good work and meaningful work, take the time to find disabled actors because there's plenty of them. They found me on
okay.
TikTok.
There was the well. There you go. There was my next question. Is Paddy Slattery on Monday, who's a writer producer? You may or may not know Paddy, but Paddy was saying he feels there aren't enough. There isn't the strength of depth of people in the to play necessarily those roles at the moment. That there's a real piece of work that needs to go on there. Do you agree with that?
No.
No, I knew by your face before you said the word you didn't agree with that.
No, I
Okay,
don't. I think casting offices need to start taking the time to ring out
okay, yeah,
people. There's such a acting is such a weird skill. It's something some people go to school for, some people don't. Some people are just able to do it.
yeah, yeah.
Take the time, and you know, yeah, I just don't agree with that necessarily. Why bother writing a disabled character
Mm.
if you're not going to take the time to cast it properly?
And do you think that the characters who have disabilities are brought into productions for the right reasons, or do you think it's tokenistic at the moment?
At the moment, I think Anya, the girl I played, is one of the first times people have gotten it right. Um,
Okay, yeah. And explain that to me a bit more. What makes you feel that way?
I've never seen anyone like me on screen, and it makes you when you're a kid, it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you because
Yeah, yeah,
you never see yourself represented. And if you do, it's normally an actor, a very well-known actor that
Hmm.
you see walking around, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're in a chair. So it's meaningless. You know what I mean? And it's not a true it's not a true representation of disability. And it's I always found it a bit of a slap in the face, to be
No,
honest.
that's a really important point, though.
Yeah,
And look, and maybe as times change and perspective grows and these conversations happen, attitudes grow. Like I
yeah,
remember looking at Daniel Day Lewis's My Left Foot performance. It was a very good acting performance
yeah,
from what I could see. Don't get me wrong, he
mhm,
won an Oscar for God's sake. So I presume that's about validation of his performance. But
yeah,
I always wonder for someone who had cerebral palsy,
yeah.
looking at that role, or who has, they probably didn't. Not a case that they had it and it's now gone. They still have it. Do they see? Was that a slap in the face for them? Did they feel that, as you said, that it wasn't really representing them?
Pro- Probably. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
you don't
I
know.
don't know, but I know from like looking at amputees and stuff
Mm.
when they are represented, like there's this kind of trope of the angry cripple, like
Oh, I
that
know. Yeah,
just
typecasting, isn't it? It's the stereotype, and
it's the stereotype that we're all either saintly little things that, oh, this didn't deserve to happen to you, or we're angry and aggressive and hate our lives. There's never like just a character where I think probably apart from Anya, where they're just human, and
a person. Yeah,
the entire storyline is not centered around their disability, and they don't,
yeah.
she doesn't go and deliver big huge monologues about being disabled, which I find when there is disabled
Mm.
people in movies, they're like, oh, like that's their only personality trait, and that's just not true. I think if you got a disabled person to play some of those roles, they'd just be like, wait, I'd never say that as a disabled person.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I know. I did very. My own perspective is as someone who uses a wheelchair, I hate when there are people in on screen and in those roles, who have obviously never sat in a wheelchair before.
Yeah,
It's very clear to me they don't know how to push a chair.
yeah,
And the only movie I ever saw that made some gesture or representation towards being accurate was when Sam Worthington was in Avatar. But they digitally wasted his legs to represent somebody who has muscle loss from paralysis. So I
yeah.
said, okay, that's a step in the right direction. But why not get someone in it? And look, and maybe I'm just being naive,
I
and that's
don't think
not the
you
way the
are.
industry
No.
works. And that, if you want to get a movie sold, and get the right. And anyway, it's just my observation. It drives me
Yeah,
mad when they stick people in chairs, whether it be in imagery or in productions. It's very obvious to me when
yeah.
it's not authentic.
I get what you're saying, because like if you're going to use a big name, that's grand to sell the movie, but don't put them in a wheelchair. Just
Yeah,
make
yeah,
that, because then it's you're trying. I think sometimes they almost expect a pat on the back, like, oh look, we're representing disability, and I'm like, you're not, because you're not using a
yeah.
disabled
You're not.
person.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not.
And I don't necessarily love the word ableist, but it is an ableist approach where they're
Yeah,
looking at it through their lens instead of bringing the lived lens of it. And then
yeah,
in so much of the rest of the stuff that we do in this world, the lived experience, that being able to speak to it authentically is critical, because
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And look, I don't want to go on a hobby horse. I was just interested in what you
yeah. No,
thought around that.
I do. I mean, it doesn't like, I wouldn't get like, I wouldn't not watch a movie because of it, or I wouldn't get
Mm,
outraged because of it. But I think that's just though because I'm so used to it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, okay.
but now the more I've thought about it, I'm like,
Oh
actually, it
no, we
doesn't.
don't want you angry by the end of this
Yeah,
call. That won't do us
but
any favors.
the
You
more I
won't.
think about it, I'm like, that is annoying. Yeah, that does annoy me. Yeah, it does.
Okay, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, and look, yeah, let's hopefully it'll change, because that representation is important. Like the fact that you said I didn't see anybody who represented me. I didn't
No,
see
never.
anybody who represented me either.
No.
Although I have to say, when we did speak, I did know that you were working with Mark Hamill. Now that represents me for a completely
Oh
different
yeah,
reason.
where's the
Uh,
baby
uh,
Yoda's there in the
oh,
back?
look, Grogu. You've got Grogu in the back. You don't know, anybody who's watching this, how many people will be like, "Oh no, don't get him started."
He's a
Legend.
he's a movie grade um one, and I devalued him because I had to bring him home from LA, so I took him out of the box. He was in a little glass case. Sorry,
Okay.
I know that's gonna upset so many people.
But no, he's. I might have to. I'll be stalking your house trying to get my hands on him now if you're
You
not
can have
careful.
him. You can have him.
No, no, you can't. You can't just give away a Grogu like that. Absolutely not.
I know. I've only seen one of the Star Wars. Sorry, Mark. I've only seen one of the Star Wars films.
Mark Hamill, John Fulham, we're all upset with you right now. We're all upset with you. Actually, just to satisfy me, what is Mark like as a person to engage with? We won't dwell
He
on this.
he's lovely. He has three dogs, and I have a dog, so we just
Ah,
talk about dogs all the time. But he was one of the nicest people I've ever. I was so, because you kind of think because he's so huge that he's gonna be like a bit standoffish or I don't know,
yeah.
shy. But he's just the loveliest human being ever. Everyone who meets him says he's an absolute gentleman, and I would agree.
Okay. Well, go.
Yeah,
You see, that makes me happy now. That makes me happy. I can't have Grogu, but I can know that you like Mark. That makes me happy.
yeah.
So I got to move on before people say, "Oh no, please don't let him go down that route." So before all of this though, that you mentioned it earlier on, you were on TikTok and you had a very good following on TikTok, and you said that all took off through through lockdown, but you've come away from it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I suppose just what why did you come away from it, having been so successful at it?
I mm, I never viewed it as like it kind of happened by accident, and I was never hugely into social media
Yeah.
anyway. Um and I just didn't it started becoming more like a job, like coming up with content every day, and I just didn't enjoy it anymore. So I
Was it a
quit.
pressure?
There was a pressure to put out content and stuff, and I
Mm,
was in the middle of filming Club. I was coming towards the end of it, and I was just like, you know, I'm so grateful for it because it
mm,
got me to acting, which is what I do now, and I love acting.
yeah.
Um, but I just couldn't. I kind of I think for a while I kept it going out of guilt because like I knew
Okay.
that like a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people for some reason really enjoyed my content and stuff. So for a long time I think I kept it going purely out of guilt. Um,
Okay. Yeah. But
yeah.
it's nearly like the wrong reason to keep it going,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah. And
the numbers, whilst I obviously appreciate anyone that supported me, but the numbers didn't really mean that much to me, if you know what I
that's really
mean.
interesting because you had 800,000 followers, which is not to be sniffed at in any
Yeah,
way.
it's
Yeah.
weird. It's because that's a lot of people, but you never see them. So it's just a number on a
That's
screen,
just a
really,
number.
when you think
Okay.
about it.
Yeah.
So
And did the then I suppose one of the questions, did the role of maybe being considered an influencer then kind of put you off?
yeah,
Because there's a
yeah,
pressure I'd imagine that comes with that as well. Like, who gives me the right to to determine what other people's opinions are? Look,
yeah.
I'm only throwing that out there for to be
No,
provocative.
I felt that way. I felt that because I had bigger numbers, it kind of automatically validated whatever I said. And I was
Mm.
just kind of like, nobody should be influenced by me ever. So
Well, no, I wouldn't say that because you're now look, whether you like it or not, you're a role model. You're now in the space that you're representing somebody out there who didn't see themselves before, which is brilliant.
yeah.
So and you're doing it in a vibrant, energetic, glamorous way, which is great. Now that'll lead me into a point later on around that it doesn't always have to be vibrant and glamorous, but you're doing it in a really positive way. So I would disagree with you say that who gives you the right you're definitely representing, but I
Oh
take
God.
it. I take it. Was it difficult to leave it? Was it difficult to step away from it?
No,
Because okay, not at all. That's a
I
good
was
sign, isn't it?
I was relieved actually the second
Wow.
I didn't have that regret of like, oh shit, what have I done type of thing. I just I was so relieved when I deleted it. You know, but again, I didn't. I was scared when I was deleted it that I'd look ungrateful for all the opportunities and
Okay.
stuff
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it wasn't like me being like, oh, like I'm too good for social media now. It was just like it was me for once looking after myself and being like, oh, it's not for me anymore.
Well,
Sorry.
and you know this, it's in you. I think you're. I admire you for that because a lot of people who are longer around and supposedly wiser may not come to that point. So I really do. I admire you for that. Like the woke culture, I feel sometimes put huge pressure on people, and that all of a sudden that if you don't agree with someone's perspective, that you're nearly cancelled out. That what's happening now is that there's no room for discourse anymore.
No,
Um.
there's no room for discussion really,
Mm,
because again, because of social media, you have hundreds,
mm.
sometimes thousands of people jumping down your throat, and
Yeah.
all it takes is like for you to not word something maybe the most correct or in the most sensitive manner,
Mm,
and I was just like, I found myself, I don't like hurting people's feelings. I hate it. So I
mm.
found myself, even with my comedy and stuff, I think the whole thing at the beginning is that like I didn't really give a fuck what I said because I didn't
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't have an audience, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
Um, and then the more followers I got, I was like, I don't want to say this in case it hurts someone's feelings, or even though it's a joke, you're just like, I was constantly worried about hurting people's feelings, and I was like, no, I can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I did. I get it, and it's just that the lack of space to disagree anymore is what worries me
Yeah,
about all of this. And it's not
yeah,
about trying to stifle people's opinions. And I welcome and celebrate the fact that it gives us an opportunity another way to have the discussions that maybe it wouldn't have otherwise done. But yeah, I worry about that. Did you feel there was an expectation to play up to a perception of you?
yeah. It was definitely like, um, oh, she's so positive and funny all the time, and she has this like I don't really care attitude, and I'm like, that's true some of the time, but I'm like, not all the time.
Okay, and let me explore that with you because we mentioned it early on a little bit about the success and about you being a role model in a very positive and glamorous and exciting way for young girls, and that's not a bad thing,
Yeah,
firstly. But sometimes, and we've spoken about this with everybody all week, that sometimes the perception is that if you have a disability, whether it be obvious or hidden or seen, that people expect you to be their definition of success for you is that you have to be positive. As you said, you have to be positive all the time. You have to be smiley all the time. That
yeah,
everything has to be great. That if you're not super achieving like Paralympians, that you're not successful. And
yeah,
that I call it, if anybody's been listening all week, I call it inspiration porn
yeah,
because
yeah,
it really drives me bonkers because that's very alienating because not everybody's going to be able to achieve to that level. And while role models are great, the definition of success to me needs to be something different. What do you think?
yeah. I think it's like, that thing of all those Paralympians, if they are super, some of those people would achieve super things anyway, regardless of
Hmm.
whether they were born with a disability or not. They're just incredible humans, like full stop. So I think there's this like pressure to be like almost a gold star disabled, like kind of
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
you have to, you're not allowed to be angry about it, not allowed to say, oh, like sometimes things are harder for me, and because then you're scared of people being like, oh, she doesn't accept it, that type of thing.
Yes, yeah. Oh, the judgment comes in straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not really here to make you feel better. I've just learned over time. I'm like, I'm not here to make you feel better about my disability. Sorry. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and if I've at the beginning, when I first had my injury, I put up this front where I was like completely okay with it. You know, nothing was going to get me down. And over time, I was like, you know, it did take me a long time to accept my disability. And it's okay on days where I'm like, it's okay to admit, like, sometimes things are a bit harder for me. And
Mm.
sometimes life isn't all skittles and rainbows. And I do feel down about it, but that doesn't mean I don't accept it. But
And
I'm,
that's a really important point. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't mean you're not accepting it. It
no,
just means that some days it's just a pain in the hole.
it
Excuse my.
is. Exactly. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It
and
is.
that could be for any myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be because someone's attitude is condescending. It could be that their judgment. It could be just, I can tell you, it could be that when I arrive at a building, there's 6 steps into it, and I didn't look that up before I got there. There's a whole myriad of reasons why,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean we're not happy people and that we're in our skin. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable in my
Yeah.
skin, like
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
We're just humans that get pissed off about things, and that's okay. People
yeah.
get annoyed about much lesser things. And it could be like you're annoyed about other things. It's nothing to do. I think sometimes people assume when I'm upset or when I'm angry that it's about me having one leg.
There's so much more to your life that
Yeah,
could make you
yeah,
annoyed and angry. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be about this bit.
yeah.
Actually, that's not the bit at all. That's
No, no.
it could be that you've gone for an audition and it didn't go well. It could be
Oh,
that,
yeah.
yeah, you
That's
got
a
out of
separate
bed on the
story.
wrong side in the morning and you stepped on the dog or something. I hope the dog is asleep and comfortable now.
The dog is in my bed. She has to. She's been banished up to my room now when people come over because she falls asleep, but because she's a bit deaf, she won't wake up, so people stand on her, and she started to like nip at their ankles because she's a terrier.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's their job in life. They feel that that's their.
So I'm so, she doesn't bite or anything, but like she will if people stand on her, she'll go. But it's her own fault because she sleeps in the weirdest spots. So I have to bring her up to my room when there's people over because I'm like, sorry, she's gonna go for her ankles.
Yeah, yeah, and look, and she probably, and if she's a terrier, she obviously owns the place. You don't. She
Oh
will.
yeah.
Huh.
No, it's Betty's house now. I mean, she's only moved in a couple of weeks, but yep, it's her house. And the
Betty.
other dog, who is a huge Labrador,
Yeah.
she bosses him around. She bullies him. He's terrified of her, and
Yeah,
it's his
yeah.
house. He's lived here for 8 years.
Or he's just willing to accept. He's comfortable in his skin. I'm presuming the Labrador is a he. So
Yeah,
if you tell me if you weren't an actress, like if you the other stuff you love baking,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, reality TV, bit of an obsession going on with reality TV. Is
love
that
reality.
something you'd like to go into, or are you just happy to be the voyeur?
No, I see now that I'm acting, I know editors and stuff, and they have given me the secrets of the trade. So I will never go into reality TV after learning how people edit shows. Because they can just
Really?
make you look however they want.
And you've no
So
control.
you've no control at all. So
Okay,
um
okay.
yeah, that's
So for watching,
I still watch it though.
yeah,
I know it's
okay,
fake. I still
fair
watch
enough, fair enough. Do you think the day of reality TV is dwindling, or do you think they're just going to come up with new ideas?
it. I
Because we've
hope
been
it's not
watching
dwindling.
Get Me Celebrity Get Me Out of Here for like donkey's years.
I will never get fed up with that. I love that. Love that.
What did you think of the results? Should Matt Hancock have won it, or was the
No. I
no?
don't think I
It
know
was the right
he
results. Yeah.
yeah, no, I don't it's weird because he did show a very human side to him in there,
Mm,
but I'm like, you did such inhumane things. I don't really think you deserve the platform to turn it around. Sorry, I don't.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know everyone's human and everyone makes mistakes, but when you do it on such a gross, negligent scale, I don't think he should have ever been allowed in. Sorry, that's
Okay. Yeah,
your
you're not
job
on
as a
your
dog.
own. You're not on your own in that one. I
Yeah,
have to confess, I didn't watch it.
yeah,
I didn't watch it. You're probably disappointed in me now. You're going to use the disappointed word with me because I didn't watch it. Yeah. See, there you go. There you go. Okay. But so you're definitely you're happy to watch it, but you wouldn't want. Would you want to go into TV presenting or anything like that? Would that be something that would interest you?
yeah. I'd love to do TV presenting. I think
You'd be very good.
that'd be great crack. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think
sure
it'd
if
be
they
great.
on the air live, but I'd do something. I would go on I'm a Celeb, but you have to be famous to do that, so I wouldn't be let on.
Oh, okay, not yet. But you don't think you're famous enough, but you never know. They plucked you out of anonymity to become an actress and star. So there you go.
Maybe in a
Yeah,
couple of years. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, maybe anonymity is not fair because you had a presence, but you hadn't acted before. So
No, I didn't. I mean, it's different, like being, you
yeah,
know, uh, in movies and on TV shows and stuff than it is to just like. I feel like the whole world of social media is just like separate.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. And give out to me if you think I'm being disrespectful. I wouldn't have intended
No,
to be
no,
saying that.
never.
But you were also into horse riding.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Did you fulfill your ambitions with horse riding? I'm just intrigued on that because of the and why did you stop because of the circumstances, or was it just you'd had enough?
No, it was more the circumstances. I injured my leg when I was 15,
Mm,
and it was just a broken bone that never healed properly. So from 15 to 23, I was kind of, I did horse ride during that time, but I didn't compete because my legs were just not, my leg just wasn't,
yeah.
it didn't have the strength to kind of, I would not be able to, go around jumping over picnic tables and things like that. That kind of,
As you do.
my injury did put an end to the horse riding. I know
Okay.
now that like everything's settled down, I could go back, but my
Mm.
my life has kind of moved on.
Yeah, yeah,
So
okay, I get that. But you
yeah,
don't have any huge, do you have any regrets about that? Are you yeah, you're done.
I,
It's like, okay, that was it.
no, I miss it. I do miss it. My only regret is that like my injury didn't. It wasn't to do with horses. Like I felt playing soccer. At
And
least I wish I'd like injured
oh,
myself.
God's sake, it would have been more
Yeah,
dramatic had it been on a horse.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I wish I gotten injured doing something I love.
But you were playing soccer. I mean, you obviously didn't love soccer. Okay.
No, I was
And
just
come here.
messing around.
And you went for 15 to 23 years, and then you made a decision.
Yeah.
And was the decision to amputate a difficult decision to make?
By the end of the 8 years, no. I'd kind of
Okay.
made it. I'd kind of accepted that this was the route it was going to go year 5, maybe. I just kind of
Okay.
knew.
Yeah.
But obviously, I just kind of had to let the doctors try whatever. But like,
Mm.
because they can't just go around like amputating limbs willy nilly.
I hope not. I hope
So
not.
they have to try pretty much
Yeah.
everything. And I kind of
Okay.
knew, I was like, this is, I'm just kind of entertaining them here, but leave them off.
Okay. So was it a relief in a way by the time because you'd put through 8 years of whatever attempts to get this back to the way it was, and it wasn't working. So was it a relief?
Yeah, a huge relief. And I know it's not that way for everyone. Uh,
No, but we're talking about you. Don't worry
yeah,
about everybody. Yeah, we're talking about
yeah.
you.
But for me, it was a huge, I was just like raring to go. Like I got so they chopped it off in December. I had one leg for Christmas. There's one Christmas, like we have a family photo every Christmas. There's one where I just don't have a leg. Like it's just not there.
And it could have been Photoshop.
Yeah, we could have photoshopped it in maybe. And
Well,
then
why would you?
in January I got my prosthetic. Um,
Okay.
so after 2 days, because I had a huge splint anyway, so I didn't have the use of my ankle before I got my leg amputated. So for me, I think the thing with most amputees is getting used to not
Yeah.
being able to bend the ankle. Um,
Okay.
but I was used to that. So after 2 days, the physio was like, "You're good to go. Like you don't."
I that's of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like,
Brilliant.
"Do you feel comfortable?" And I was like, "Groovy. See you later."
Amazing. Amazing. And look, was it more? Who found it more difficult? Was it you or your family?
I'd say my family did.
Did you
Uh,
have to counsel your family? 'Cause
yeah,
sometimes I end up having to do that over certain
yeah.
things. It's like it's okay.
Certain things.
Yeah.
There's one point where I had to sit him down, and my mum, my dad, And it's not that they were never like, it was just hard for them to see their daughter
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through that.
yeah.
But I had to sit them down and be like, I look like this now. This is the way it is. The leg's not coming back. So I was like, I'm over it. You need to get over it. So
And I can
after
understand
that,
now as a daddy, I can understand that might the just the it's not what the and you know what, it's not what they planned for you. I
no,
think that's probably where it comes from. It wasn't, and they
yeah,
were worried. But I
yeah,
think it must have been a relief to them when you're kind of going, well, I'm okay with it, so you need to be okay with it.
yeah, yeah,
And maybe
and
it was a relief for them to know that.
yeah. I think as well. When you have kids and stuff, you're so protective. You probably know as a dad, you're so protective over them, and you just want the best for
I
them. And I
do.
think it was
Yeah.
hard that my life didn't work out the way I wanted to, and and I think that's more what where they were coming from. I think they were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it
I
was
get it.
coming from a place of compassion where they were just upset. I think that I had to go through everything that I
Yeah.
did. Um, that doesn't mean that I didn't absolutely rinse them sometimes.
Well, I'd be disappointed if you didn't give it a go, for God's sake. That's your job.
Yeah, but I understand now where they were coming from. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. What's your relationship to the word disability? Do you have one? Are you bothered by the word?
I mean, it's just a word to me.
Yeah, cool. Mm.
I don't I don't I don't know really what my relationship to the word is. I'm just Ruth.
Yeah,
Um
but you know what? The fact that you don't have necessarily a relationship to the word, which is great, because for me, it's a descriptor, nothing more,
yeah.
nothing less.
Yeah,
So
it's a
that's why I'm
descriptive
not
word.
really
Yeah.
precious about it. But
Yeah.
I do appreciate that some people are, and it's probably around the connotations that other people have when they hear the word, lack of expectation, the bit negative perceptions, thinking
Yeah.
that our life is utterly miserable and bereft because
Yeah.
um we're, I have a chair. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah, I think it is that there is a stigma around the word because I used to when I was a teenager, like I was like, do not call me disabled. Like do
okay,
I'd be like I'd get really angry. And then I remember my mom got me like a wheelchair pass for
mm,
because I was on crutches or
okay, yeah,
I wasn't in a wheelchair, so she got me like a pass for to park in like
the blue
disabled
badge, kind of the
spots.
parking, yeah, yeah,
And I threw an absolute
really,
conniption at the time because I was like, I'm not disabled.
yeah,
But I
but
was.
yeah,
But now it doesn't bother me. I'm like, it's just a word. It's just a
yeah,
word.
yeah, and
But it
that,
was like to do with, acceptance and I
yeah, I
wasn't
get
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't there, but it's a place where I would love the. Someone asked me the question the other day: "Is do you ever think you'll see a world without the word disability?" And I've kind of been doing that theme this week with different people, and to that point, I don't see a place where we have the world without the word because the
No.
fundamental change, but it because it would be too great. I don't think that's realistic, but okay, I'm quite happy to have the word because to me it's a descriptor, and as long as it's just a word.
Yeah.
I think that's more realistic to achieve. And
Yeah.
are you precious about language that's used?
No.
It's
No,
okay.
no, I'm not. As long as it's the intent behind it. I think
Yeah, I agree. Brilliant. Yeah.
if someone's being condescending towards me, or patronizing, I've gotten to a point now where I'll pull them up in it, and I'll be like,
Okay. Yeah.
or I'll just match them. Like, have you like? I remember once when I was in the chair, I literally had someone like bend down to me, like do you know, like you would a dog, like you'd be like,
Yeah.
hi, hi. I remember like my best friend was with me, so she started mimicking her, and she started going, "Hi!" I was like, but like I was just like, it's stuff like that
Mm.
that boils my blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, um, with words and stuff, like if someone's not meaning to be condescending or it's just coming from a place of like they don't know, I'm kind of like, grand, leave
Yeah.
it off.
No, I think we sometimes become. I worry that we become so precious about the words that will frighten people, and then that makes it worse because it makes them feel more awkward, and avoidance will happen. And I'm kind of like,
Yeah,
don't worry about the words. I'll know when you're being offensive and when you're not being
yeah,
offensive, because
yeah.
people don't really want to give offense. It's just
No,
it's in the main it's unintentional, but as long as it's respectful, then we can let them know.
yeah. and I'm
Yeah,
I'm the type of person that I don't necessarily always put things in the right words
me
either.
neither.
So
Yeah,
I get it, but I'm like, you don't like don't. I think sometimes people are scared of like using the wrong word or stuff, and I'm like, it just stems back to like maybe just see me as a person rather than
yeah,
worrying about the
grand.
whole.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not really worried about the whole one leg situation. You don't need to worry about it.
You
You
need to
know what
be,
I
don't need to be
mean?
precious. Yeah, we're okay. We're
Yeah,
okay on
we're
that one.
we're
Yeah.
good.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So tell me now, what is it that inspires you? What keeps you motivated? Not about, not just in life in general. Like, what are the things you if you get out of the wrong side of the bed?
If I get out of the wrong side of the bed, I think um just people that get on with their lives
Yeah,
and you know I don't I don't I'm not never necessarily inspired by people who do brilliant, you know, wonderful things on a global scale. I'm kind of inspired
yeah,
by people that just, you know,
do
they
stuff.
have hardships in life, and then they have stuff that goes wrong and they just get up and get on with it, and um yeah,
Yeah,
just
I'm with you.
people.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feeds into that inspiration porn thing for me as well. But yeah, but definitely, I take my motivation out of the everyday things.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And my greatest achievement in life, I say this now, is with everything I've done is Harry, my 6 year old. That's my greatest achievement. And yet he's only 6, so it could be my greatest disaster. Hopefully my wife will bail me out just in case it goes wrong. But yeah,
oh,
so it's the everyday stuff. It's the important stuff that would work for me. So I'm just curious, if you were Taoiseach for a day, you're a doer, you're out there, you don't hold back, you put your opinion out there. So if you're a Taoiseach for the day, what change would you make?
dismantle the health system. It's atrocious. The entire system is so broken. I grew up in the public health system. I didn't have the money to go private. And just the amount of time waste on waiting lists. And people be like, oh, like, well, you'll see a specialist in 6 months. And I'm like, cool, yeah, it's 6 months, but 6 months where I'm waiting around doing nothing. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's part of my life, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I think you only get one life, and I really don't want to waste it on a waiting list. And then when I went to get my leg amputated, I had to go private for the operation because I didn't want to wait a year on a list, having that hanging over my head. So I had to pay. I had to get out a loan to get my prosthetic leg. I had to get out a 10.5 grand loan from the
Well,
credit union.
and that's, yeah.
To
I don't think people realize they're that expensive.
no, and I don't think your quality of life should depend on your financial situation. Not in this country. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a quite a well, you know, we're a well established country financially, and there's just the health system is so it, oh, it's just it's so broken. It's so broken to the point
yeah,
where
yeah.
you just need to knock down the whole thing and start
Okay,
again.
good. And the good part would be that you would be Taoiseach, so you could get someone else to do it. You wouldn't have to do it because
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't envy anybody going to do that. Oh my lord, I don't know where they'd start.
I'd hire my
Absolutely.
mom. I think I'd get my mom to do it.
Oh yeah, mams, they're formidable, aren't they? Yeah, all of
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
the last question, we're nearly at the end of our time, but I've loved bantering and chatting with you. Like, what's the future hold for you? Like, have you any great plans or vision, or what? Do you know what you want? What you want?
I've learned there's no point in making plans in life. Um,
Okay.
so I just go with the flow now. I just ride
Ruth,
the
you're
wave.
26. That's very wise for a 26-year-old. My God.
Is it? I don't know. I just go whatever opportunities come my way, I'll take them and I'll run with them.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll just keep like acting. I hope to keep acting.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
my plan. But who
I,
knows?
Yeah, I'd love. I think I'd love to see you. Definitely you're a public eye person. Yeah, and you're out there. You've got a great personality. You're being the role model. Oh, I could see Lisa Breen is there. Yeah, she agrees with you. Knock down the whole system and start again. But yeah, what I would say to you is, yeah, like you're out there, you're doing it, you're being that role model for other young girls out there who you didn't have. And I think that's really important. And I suppose whether or not you want to be, that's what's happening. So I think that's really exciting. So I want you all over the TV. I want you all over, because I think you've got the personality for it. And the fact that you've been in the Midnight Club, I hope, is just the start of the big successes coming your way. I really do, because then you'll be able to afford to give me Grogu, and you won't have to hold on to him just in case he's valuable for when you're like 60 as an insurance policy.
You can have I think I've devalued him by taking him out of the box. So
No, you
I've
can't.
been
Well,
told.
maybe to the hardcore people, but you've other people will say you've enabled him, because you've like made him real.
Oh, okay. He I was like kicking him around LAX like
I,
airports. He had to go. I was just carrying him like a little toddler, but like he's kind of heavy, so like I kept just like there was at one point like where I had my bags on the ground and I was just like kicking them along the terminal because my flight was delayed for 3 hours.
oh my God!
Poor Grogu was
Yeah,
being
if
treated
I'd
like a
been
rubber
there,
ball.
I'd have nearly crawled along and put him in my chair so he was protected. Anyway, we're at 45 minutes, 46 minutes. Ruth, thank you so much. It's great to be able to just celebrate you today and talk to you and learn about you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm going to be keeping my eye out for you in the future, because I just think you're one to watch without a doubt.
Uh,
So best of
I
luck with it
I
all.
hope so. Thank you for having me. It was great.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I hope I could form a cohesive sentence.
Yeah, no, you did. You did. Absolutely did. Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks a million.
Okay.